Hi beautiful, welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm finally going to be ranking all of the new foundations I have tried since the year started from worst to best. And I'm saying worst in quotations because I usually rank these foundations on my level of excitement for them, but also my level of excitement for them greatly depends on whether or not they work for me. So I'm going to be ranking them, and then I'm also going to be telling you, depending on your skin type or your makeup preferences, whether even though some of these foundations are not my favorite, they might work for you anyways. For reference, if you haven't seen one of my foundation review videos before, I have dry skin, desert dry skin I like to call it. I also have rosacea, so oftentimes I have a lot of redness on my cheeks, and so my makeup preferences are thin foundations that have at the very least a medium coverage. And even though I have dry skin, I don't like to be super glowy. I like to have more of a natural finish in my foundation, so a natural finish foundation is what I prefer. If you're excited for this ranking video, don't forget to please give it a thumbs up. I have all of these foundations listed and linked down in the description box of this video, so if you decide to go for any of these, please use my links down there, and let's go ahead and get started. I'm filming this video on April 1st, and for the first 3 months of 2023, I have tried a total of 9 new foundations. Most of them are high-end, but there is a couple of drugstore ones in the mix because I like to dabble into drugstore every once in a while. And at number 9th, my least favorite foundation of all of the ones I have tried, the one that has worked the least for me, is the Makeup by Moira foundation, which I feel like might be shocking maybe for some people because this foundation has gotten great reviews online. As you can see, I haven't used mine in a while, so all of the little shimmery specks in it have separated and they are sitting at the top. Let's see if we can easily get rid of that. Yeah, I feel like you can kind of easily mix it. It's still sitting at the top, but for the most part, it reblended itself. So let me tell you why this one is my least favorite out of all of the 9 foundations I tried, and why also, even though I don't really like this one for myself, you might. This foundation has an amazing coverage. When I tell you, you can do your whole face with just a pump, and you can get a really solid medium coverage with it. Take a look right here. I did a teeny tiny bit, and you can see all of the coverage that the back of my hand has, and also you can see how it is a really nice glowy foundation. Now the reason this one doesn't work the best for me is because my dry skin for some reason does not love thick foundations, and this foundation is not a liquidy consistency type foundation. I think it's a bit on the thicker side, and so I can put it on, and if I do a very light layer of it, it looks good for the first hour or two, but then after a while I feel like it kind of starts separating on my skin. It starts looking a little bit cakey. Like I said, my dry skin, not a big fan of thick foundations, and I feel like that's something that I've known for a long time. I tried to make this foundation work. I used it with different primers. The best it worked for me was using one pump for my entire face. I was pretty happy with it for majority of the wear test when I wore it like that, but it's still not my favorite, and the other 8 foundations I've tried work a little better for me than this one does. Now, this foundation has gotten great reviews, and it is for a reason. Even though it doesn't work for my desert dry skin that prefers thin foundations, if you're someone who has normal skin or combination skin and you like your foundations to have a really good amount of coverage and you like certain thickness to your foundation, then this foundation might simply become your favorite. My friend Andrea, she tells me she has dry skin, but I see the way she wears makeup differently from the way I wear makeup, and I would say to me she has more so normal cheeks, oily center of the face, right? So her nose gets oily, her forehead gets oily, and her cheeks, I would say, are a bit more on the normal side, and she loves this foundation. She prefers foundations that have a bit of a thick feel to it. She prefers concealers that have a bit of a thick feel to it. She's a makeup artist too, and this foundation looks fantastic on her. I've seen her wear this countless times. I know that it looks amazing on her, but it does not look like that on me at all. So if you're someone who likes a bit of a thicker consistency in your foundation, and you like a medium to full coverage, and your skin is normal or combination, I feel like this foundation might just be perfect for you. However, for me and my desert dry skin, it just didn't work, so this is in my 9th spot. In my 8th spot, I have a very affordable foundation, and that is the Essence Keep Me Covered Long Lasting Foundation. This one is transfer proof, is waterproof, and I got mine in the shade 40 Alabaster. Now, the reason this one is my 8th favorite and not a little bit further up, even though I did really like it the way I wore it, is because I could not find a shade in this foundation for me. 40 Alabaster, based on the images they have on the Ulta website, it seemed to be the foundation that I would use, and as you can see, it is super pasty on my skin, and this foundation only has like 14 shades. It has a very limited shade range, and therefore not just me but like majority of people are not going to be able to find their perfect shade in this foundation, which is a shame because I do actually like the way this one wears. It is a bit on the thick side for me, but it didn't separate during the day. It didn't make my skin look dry at all. However, every time I have worn it, I've had to combine it with a liquid bronzer because I can't wear it on its own. And so that is definitely an issue. However, it is a very affordable foundation. You can get it for like $6.99, I believe, at the Ulta website, which is amazing, but I would just be very, very careful with the shades you pick, because like I said, the pictures of the girl that's wearing Alabaster on the Ulta website look like this would be a foundation that would match me, and you can clearly see that it is way, way, way too pale for me. So I wish that they expanded the shade range on this foundation, and the fact that there's so few shades available makes me much less excited about this one than some of the other ones I have in front of it. Moving on to number 7, and my 7th favorite foundation I've tried is this one right here. This is the Gucci I don't know how to speak French, but KVD Beauty foundation. So this Gucci foundation retails for $68. It has a 24-hour full coverage with a luminous matte finish, which to me honestly kind of just means a natural finish. I got mine in the shade 160 Neutral Fair. This isn't the thinnest foundation, as you can see. It is a bit on the creamy side, and it has a really good amount of coverage to it. It dries down to a natural finish, like I said, and I actually really like the finish of this one. I like the texture, the consistency. I love the coverage of it. It covered all of my redness immediately. It's a good foundation. The issue I had with it is that it could sometimes make the pores right here next to my nose be a bit apparent, and so it's not a foundation that looks perfect on my skin. I did not feel flawless when I was wearing this one. I did find that combining it with a very hydrating, very glowy primer helped my case out, because it gave the foundation a bit of extra hydration to lay on, and whenever I wore it with a very glowy hydrating primer, it looked a lot better on my skin, but it never looked flawless on me. I always had a bit of an issue with it showing my pores right here next to my nose. Like I said, a lot of the foundations I have tried recently have been good foundations, so I'm being very like nitpicky about the things that I didn't like about them in order to be able to rank them. I feel like if you don't have desert dry skin like me, if you have normal oily or combination skin, this foundation might look a lot better on you than it did on me. I was just like 85% satisfied with it, but there was like a 15% there that I couldn't get to love, which was the 15% that showed my pores basically. So I'm not hating on it. It's an okay foundation. It's just that I have dry skin and it didn't make me feel flawless, you know? In the 6th spot, I have a foundation that I really, really like, but it just falls a teeny tiny bit short when it comes to coverage for me, and that is the new Mercier Real Flawless Foundation. This is, out of all of the foundations I'm going to talk about today, the most natural looking foundation. This one looks like skin. It just gives your skin a really nice, beautiful glow. It has a very beautiful, very thin consistency. Okay, I'm putting it in the back of my hand to show you. It has the most natural glow to it. I don't know if I already said that, but take a look right there. See how it just makes the back of my hand look glowy in the most natural way possible, right? So unfortunately, I really wish my skin was good enough that this foundation would make me look flawless, but unfortunately I have rosacea and I have redness, and this foundation just does not have the coverage to make me feel flawless because my redness comes through the foundation. I believe on the Sephora website when I was doing my review video, I read that this foundation was a medium buildable coverage or buildable up to medium coverage, and I don't agree with that. I think it is a sheer foundation, a beautiful sheer foundation, but I don't think the coverage gets to be medium coverage because I can still see my redness through it, and I so wish that I didn't, because other than that, I find it to be perfect. It has the thinnest consistency, it looks very natural, it sinks right into my skin, but it shows my redness through, and so of course that is the only reason why this one is not further up in the ranks. It is a hydrating foundation. I do love that aspect of it. I just wish it had just a tad bit more coverage to it, and I think this could potentially be my #1 right now. However, because my redness shows through it, this is the 6th spot in a foundation. With that said, if you are someone who loves very natural looking, very glowy foundations, if you're someone who usually goes for skin tints, if you hate heavy products, if you usually are looking for something that looks even more natural on your skin than what you already have, this might be it right here. Just keep in mind it is a sheer foundation, so if you have hyperpigmentation or a lot of redness on your skin like I do, it is not going to cover that. So yes, I'm actually very sad that this is my 6th one because I want to love it more. And I will continue to use all of these, by the way, but especially this one because I know I can just put a bit of concealer under it and make it look amazing. However, it is not satisfying my needs as well as the 5 foundations that I have in front of it, right? So this is the thing with rankings, we have to rank them. Moving on to the top 5, and my 5th foundation is actually the foundation that I'm wearing right now. I just wanted to quadruple check with myself that I like this one as much as I do, and I do like it a lot. So the foundation in the 5th spot is the new Good Apple foundation by KVD Beauty, which is crazy because this foundation was definitely not it when I first tried it. Here's the thing, and here's the one complication I have with this one. I cannot for the life of me apply it with a brush. It does not work with the brush. It looks horrible with the brush. If you've tried it and you've hated it and you applied it with a brush, try it again with a sponge. I promise you, it is a night and day difference. With a sponge, this foundation is 10 to 15 times better than when you apply it with a brush. Furthermore, even when I was applying it with a sponge at first, I wasn't like in love with it. The positives of it is that it is a very thin foundation, which I love, that has pretty much a full coverage. So all of my redness was covered, my skin was evened out, and I really loved that about it. But there was certain texture to it for which it couldn't like become a favorite. However, I have discovered that pairing this one with my slimy primer right here makes it look so amazing. So that is what I did today. See how it looks nice and glowy? That is all this primer. This Rich Bitch primer from Freck Beauty. If you have dry skin or foundations tend to always look dry on you throughout the day, whatever the case might be, you need to try this because it is a game changer when you're pairing it with foundations that you want to make work but just are not there yet. That's how I felt about this one. I wanted to love this foundation because it has a thin consistency and a really nice amount of coverage, but it wasn't quite there, right? So pairing it with a very, very hydrating primer makes it get there. You can see what it looks like on my skin right now. My skin looks glowy, in fact maybe a little too glowy, right? But my skin looks glowy, my pores aren't showing through tremendously, all of my redness is covered, and it doesn't look thick on my skin or anything like that. It looks pretty natural, and that is thanks to the primer. So because this primer saved it, this is my 5th favorite foundation now because I no longer have any of the issues I saw with it when I first tried it. My friend Marissa bought this one after I reviewed it, and she's someone who usually goes for foundations that have a pretty good amount of coverage but that also look natural on her skin, and she loves this one. She does have combination oily skin, so if you have combination oily skin and you're looking for a thin foundation with a really good amount of coverage, this is the one that I would recommend for you because it is amazing for that. But even if you have dry skin, the proof that you can totally make it work still. So yeah, that's how I feel about this one, and this is my number 5 pick. I just got self-conscious about how glowy the center of my face looks. Much better, right? Moving on to my fourth favorite foundation I've tried this year, and it is this one right here from Moira Cosmetics, the Complete Wear Foundation. This one was super affordable, if I remember correctly. $20, I think it was, which definitely is not a bad price at all. However, Moira Cosmetics has such affordable products that this is like expensive within the brand, if that makes sense. This foundation is amazing. It is fantastic. It is a weightless foundation made in Korea. It has a nice creamy consistency to it, but this one blends a bit thinner than some of the others I've talked about. It has a beautiful medium coverage with a stunning natural finish to it. It is not too glowy. It covers everything that needs to be covered. It didn't break apart on my skin. It didn't dry out. It didn't make my skin look cakey at all whatsoever. Like I said, the coverage is good, so I covered all of my redness, and my skin looks really nice and natural every time I wear this one. So this is definitely one of the best affordable foundations I have tried. I don't have anything negative to tell you about it. I'm not sure if it'll work for you if you have like extremely oily skin, but if you have combination skin, normal skin, or dry skin, this foundation is going to be fantastic for you. And like I said, $20, which is not quite drugstore, but it's really nice and affordable. I wanted to put this one further up, but there's different reasons for which the ones in front of it make me a bit more excited. However, there's literally not a negative I can tell you about this foundation, and from my top 4 foundations, this is definitely the most affordable. So at number 3, I have not a liquid foundation, but a powder one, and this one really excites me because I was not expecting to like it at all. And that is the HD Skin Matte Velvet Foundation from Makeup Forever. This foundation was recently reformulated. From what I've heard, this one is much better than the previous one that they have. The reformulation definitely worked. It comes with this little sponge applicator here, which is amazing. It offers a really beautiful coverage, and I love that I can wear this foundation on its own on top of my moisturizer and primer, or if I wanted to like touch up throughout the day, I could also wear this foundation as a touch-up piece, and it'll just take away some of the shine. It's going to add a bit of coverage on top of your foundation. If you ever like take your bronzer too far down, you can kind of define the bronzer with it a little bit. I don't recommend it touching up too much with this one, like where you put your bronzer and blush and all of that, because it does have a really good medium coverage, and so you could literally take your blush or bronzer away with it. So if you're touching up, be careful, do it in like very specific areas. But you can definitely use this one on its own. You can set your whole face with it before you bronzer and blush, or you can touch up in like specific areas with it throughout the day. My favorite thing about it, and the reason that I'm so excited for it, is because it is a powder foundation that works amazingly on my dry skin. It blurs my pores, it hydrates my skin somehow. Don't ask me how, but I feel like this foundation actually gives hydration, actually gives glow to the face, because it mattifies, but like 10 minutes later I have this like natural glow wherever I put it. It is witchcraft, okay? I love it. I highly recommend it, and I'm pretty sure this one would work for like majority of people, but I'm not sure about oily skin. Once again, I never want to speak about oily skin because my skin is so different, but because I feel like this one actually gives my skin a bit of glow, a bit of hydration, if you will. I'm just not sure if it's not going to have enough of a mattifying effect on someone who is very oily, you know? So not sure about oily, but everyone else I think will love it, and this one has gotten great reviews all around the internet. Everyone I've seen review this foundation loves this foundation, so I feel very confident in recommending it, and I personally love it, which is weird because my dry skin usually hates powders, you know? At number 2, we have the glowiest foundation I have ever tried, and that is the new KVD Beauty foundation. This one is called the Glowy Super Skin Foundation, and boy is this one glowy. I have never ever seen a foundation glowier than this one. This one gives your skin a crazy amount of shine. I have mine in number 8, by the way. You can see right here how glowy this one is, and it has a beautiful medium coverage. I love this foundation because it gives my skin not just a beautiful glow, but also a crazy amount of hydration. This foundation claims to have 85% serum ingredients in it and 15% weightless pigments. It is a very weightless foundation. It blends right into the skin. I love the thin consistency of it. I love the coverage, and I also love the glow of it. However, I definitely have to control it because I can look like a shiny donut all over when I put this one on, and that's definitely not the look that I prefer. I prefer a natural finish. So I have to go over this foundation and set it with a really nice translucent powder in the center of the face in order to get a look that I love with it. However, that is no trouble at all. I do usually use powder on top of my foundation regardless, right? So I have a very easy time with this one, and I think that it gives my skin a beautiful glow. Plus, I love that it has good for you ingredients. I love that it has skincare in it. Overall, an amazing foundation that I'm very excited to continue to use. But it is my number 2 because I found a foundation that I like just a little bit better than this one recently, and that is going to be perfect for me throughout the summer season. And that is the new Too Faced Born This Way Healthy Glow SPF 30. This is a moisturizing skin tint. It is vegan. It has UVA and UVB protection. I have mine in the shade Porcelain. It says that it has 24 hours of wear, which I'm not sure if I believe, because I've worn it for like 12 hours and I feel like it fades a little bit on the cheeks, just a tiny bit, but still 12 hours. I don't wear foundation for much longer than that ever, so that is a good amount of time for me. This tint is liquidy. It blends right into the skin. I love the natural finish of it. It definitely has my favorite type of finish in a foundation, which is really nice and natural. It has a coverage that is buildable to a medium coverage, so it does successfully cover the redness on my face, which I really appreciate. I love that the color is perfect for my skin tone. The shade Porcelain from Too Faced was designed for me. I've had other foundations from Too Faced in that shade, and it always works like if I had gone to the lab to get matched, you know? It is such a perfect shade for me. I absolutely love it. For a skin tint, this one is long lasting. It has the added SPF protection, which I really appreciate. I think it's definitely going to be my go-to throughout the rest of the spring and the upcoming summer season as well. And I love skin tints and foundations that have this texture to it because I feel like I can use it for any occasion. If I want to go for a very natural makeup day, barely any makeup on my face type of day, I can wear a skin tint. But if I want to go for a full coverage glam type of situation, I also feel confident enough in the coverage that this one provides me with that I can wear it for that occasion. So I definitely see myself reaching for this one non-stop during the next several months, and so that is the main reason this is the one that I'm most excited about and the one that I recommend the most. If you have oily or combination skin, I'm not sure about this one because it might just be a bit too hydrating for you. However, normal and dry skin, I think you are definitely going to love this one. If you're oily skin, the only one that I feel confident in recommending is the KVD Good Apple one because my friend Marissa has oily skin and she has been loving this one. I really hope that you loved this foundation rankings video and that this information was useful for you. If it was, don't forget to please give this video a thumbs up. And if you want to see the video where I reviewed my favorite, the skin tint for the first time, check it out right there. I did a pretty long wear test of this foundation in that video and I told you all of the details you need to know about it. So I definitely recommend that you check out this video if you're interested in my #1 winning foundation for today. Don't forget to please subscribe to my channel before you leave. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching today's video and I hope to see you back in the next one. Bye.